The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious.
Yeah, good evening from my side, and good day to you all, according to your time. I say good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, this is the Benin Empire Advancement League, the Benin Practical Dimension. Yes, it's been almost a week, or even more than a week now, we are live. But today I'm alone, and just a quick one about the situation in our state, in Edo State, our homeland. Because I call it our homeland because this is where we generated from. This is where our root is. Yeah, in our last broadcast, we talked about the Edos and the Esans, about unities, and so many other things. Yeah, till now, a lot has also happened. Like the report we got the other day that somewhere in Benin City, dead bodies were stored in a mortuary or in a house that looked like a mortuary. Normally, such a thing is bound to happen in our state because the Benin Empire is a very, very traditional state, and we respect our tradition so much that all these things are not supposed to be happening, if not, we neglected our tradition, the rules of our traditions. Yes, we might say this is Igbo, this is Akwa Igbo, this is this and that, people who committed those crimes. But let me call it a crime because it's an abomination in Edo State or in the Benin Empire as a whole to store all these dead bodies, all these, yeah, if people understand what I'm trying to say, all these dead bodies in the house. Normally in Benin or in Benin Empire as a whole, our loved ones are being buried in the house. Some of them are being buried in the cemetery. You know, these are not really expensive things that people cannot really afford. I don't understand, and I don't want to understand why this is happening in our state. Because normally we used to hear this from other states that this happened in maybe in Anambra State, this happened in Imo State, or in and somewhere in Ife or something like that. But today we hear all these things that is happening in our state. You know, it's a little bit surprising and depressing. Very, very depressive to hear all these things happening in our state. People might find it very, very laughable, or let me put it that way, but we don't find it like laughable. We who are traditionalists, because we know what this means in our tradition. Uh, Actually, those people, they get to be arrested. and they have to, full investigation has to be done, because many people are saying these are ritualists, and there are also people saying these are not ritualists. These are just normal citizens um, who live in the state, doing their business, doing their mortuary business. That these corpses were abandoned in this house. But there's a lot of evidence that is also speaking against that. Against that, because the way and the manner all these corpses were being kept is a little bit suspicious, to say the fact. How can you store a corpse in that way? For one reason, about the health reason, about the health of those people living around those areas, because it take a long time before the body will decay to such an extent, because there's no how you can prepare the body that it cannot decay in a form of that nature. Unless these people were already buried in the ground and be removed again from the from the earth and brought to the surface. Yes, the police, our Nigerian police, they should do their investigation. But there's one thing that is really bothering me, because every business that is going on in our state, there's nothing like control mechanism. Let me put it that way. Because normally, if you're having a business like that of a mortuary or a health business, anything that has to do with health, restaurant, food, and all that, there must be a control. There must be a control people or people who are responsible, the government section who are responsible for the control to make sure everything is functioning. If there was anyone, they failed to do their job. And if there's nothing like that in our system of government, I think is the time that we implement such mechanism to be controlling all these hospitals, mortuary, restaurant, everywhere that is necessary, where we get our food or where our health is important. We need to be out there. People will now say, oh, the government cannot do it alone. Yes, the government has to do it alone, because this is what they are voted for to be doing. I don't want to point finger on any governor or any state, because this is generally in Nigeria. This is the situation, because we doesn't have these people controlling and executing all these uh, issues, like the health issues. Because in the past, let me say 15 years, so many Nigerians has lost their lives in the hospitals unwillingly, maybe because the doctor gave him uh, an injection which the patient is allergic to, or overdose, or so many other things, operation that went wrong, because somebody need to be controlling all these things. We cannot just give them a machete and start allow them to be slaughtering our people that way. Many people may not agree with me, but I have to say this. If you are a doctor, the lives of other people lies in your hand. It is your duty to save life with careful manner. But when people are being brought to the hospital who were not seriously sick before, they cannot leave the hospital again. They will die in the hospital just because uh, somebody gave them fake injection, fake medication, and such a thing. This is where our government should have been coming in to start controlling, assuming all these cops to know really what happened. Because that cannot be the case that people will just die the way they died and nobody will be held responsible for all these things. It's like you are giving people a free license to be doing what they are doing. I am not against any doctor or any people who are in health service or so, but there must be a control. There must be a control. There must be somebody responsible. People have to be held responsible for their wrongdoing. It is exactly the same thing here. People have to be held responsible. If you give somebody uh, a medication that causes other things to happen, you will be held responsible. No matter your rank in doctor or wherever you will be held responsible for your wrongdoing. But in our country, there's nothing like that. We don't even have all this control mechanism uh, like that of the mortuary. If there should have been one, all these things should have been discovered earlier. All these things could have been discovered earlier. A solution could have been found for all this mess that is now coming up. You see, in the whole country, Nigeria, all these things are failing because we as citizens and we as government are also failing to recognize where we are failing, where we are having issues. But we cry day in and day out, we shout on the street for our candidate who we are voting for because we got 1 naira or 1,000 naira from these people, or a sachet of, uh, of Maggi. These are the things we have been calling our leaders to be coming up, to be coming out, to be doing. It's not just by building a supermarket or building a secretariat or all those things that's really led to development of a state. The laws also help to develop a state. The law and the execution of the law also led to the development of a state because there's no amount you can evade in the state without security that will really function. Because all this control mechanism is also a part of security that is being given to people. It's like a guarantee that when you go into the hospital, when you were having minor sickness, that you will also come out healed, not died in the hospital because somebody gave you fake injection or fake medication from India or from China or something like that. So we as citizens of that nation, we have to start standing up to be giving our government directions. If a government or a governor is lack of direction, it is our duty to tell the governor or to tell the president, this is where you are going wrong. If he's an intelligent governor or a president, he can as well correct his course. He can tell, okay, this way I'm going now is very, very wrong. Let me turn back and take this course. But we doesn't have that in our state because when I say something the other day, when I called out the governor of Edo State, people were challenging me, telling me I'm a hater, I hate the governor, this and that. No, that is not the case. If you are doing wrong and you are doing something wrong, somebody need to call you to order. Somebody need to give you advice. Giving people advice is not a hatred, or criticizing somebody is not a hatred. Through criticism, you learn so many things from other people. We have to understand why these people criticizing me. What am I doing wrong? How can I correct all these things? Even people were writing me, they want to expose me, this and that. I said, okay, go on, expose me, and let's see. But to date, I'm still waiting for the way they are going to expose me. But let me come back to where we were discussing. Like that of the mortuary. If we have a control system that really control this health sector, maybe once in a month, once in 2 months, once in a week, people who goes around the cities, because all these places they are registered. I believe most of them are registered with the business system, and the government has all these files. They can be going from one to another to control this system, to make sure this system is functioning. Because we have people controlling the park, the motor parks. We have people for the traffic. We have so many other systems that is in a way functioning. But when it comes to our health system, it doesn't have anything. Health system is one of our security system. If you doesn't have a good health, you cannot provide for anybody. And if your neighbor doesn't have a good health, he cannot provide for you. That's why it's very, very important. We have to be controlling all these things. We have to be controlling the hospitals, the mortuaries, the restaurants, uh, almost everything. Sorry, just a moment, please. Hello? Guten Tag. Ich trinke keine Wein. Tut mir leid. Gar nichts, gar nichts. Ich bin eine Konferenz. Bitte ausschalten. Bitte schon. So sorry. Somebody just called me. Want to say, yeah, I don't know how to explain it to you people. We want to send me, want me to buy wine from him. And, I don't drink wine because that's where people step into alcohol. Yes, as I was saying, we need all this control mechanism to be controlling the system we are already having on ground. We can be building on all the system. We can be improving all the system we are having on ground. We doesn't really have a need a new system because in this case of this mortuary or whatever the house people will call it, uh, it has been there maybe for the past 10 years. It has been existing that way. Nobody take note of this area. But if there is a control mechanism or mechanisms that is going out there to control all these places, people should have known about it. Or even the neighbor, who cares? They should have known about all these things. But when it comes to all this area, because we can see what is going on in our state, every house is being fenced almost to the sky, that you cannot see into the compound what is happening. It's like every Nigerian is in jail, the way they fence their house. The way we fence our houses is like we are imprisoning ourselves. So I'm not saying this as a critic, but we are indirectly imprisoning ourselves if you are fencing our houses the way we are doing it. Because for us, everybody is a suspect. Even you, including you who fence your house to the sky. you are also a suspect to the others. Yeah, a lot need to be done in our state, and yes, there's a lot to be done, and we need the governor to be active in all this area, to be active in controlling the system they created. They shouldn't leave it as the road they are constructing. They leave it without maintenance. After 3 years, after a year, you cannot go to that road again. You cannot travel through that road again. It's almost the same thing that is happening to our health system. Uh, we are hearing almost every day affordable health system, affordable health system. Can our people really afford this health system? As expensive as everything is now. So there's so many things we have to be asking ourselves. This is just somehow an advice. It's not a criticism. If you want it to be a criticism, I can also take it as a critic, because all these things are important. Because I have heard from more, I know about 10 people who went into the hospital with a minor sickness and they didn't leave the hospital with the full health. They left the hospital with coughs. That shouldn't be the case. We need somebody or a mechanism that is put on ground that is controlling all these areas, in the restaurant, anywhere that involves our health, because that is very, very important. Like that very building that was housing these cops. We should have, if we have such a system, as I said before, we should have come out to that state. So let me leave that for now, and let me take another topic. Uh, yes, the Benin Royal Museum is still on a discussion. As we all know, everything is still going on, and the governor is not uh, withdrawing from his decision. And as we all know, we, the sons and daughters of the Benin Empire, we are fully behind our Omonoba. Our Omonoba was not even the one who introduced the Benin Royal Museum. It was during the reign of his father that this Royal Museum started taking shape. Even Obaseki was not a governor at that period, but he was involved in all this discussion, all the conferences, all the meetings that was being held. He was involved. He never came out with any idea of his own uh, uh, legacy or whatever they call them, or a MOA. These are the problem we are facing with some of our politicians who believe they are intelligent, but I call them dormant. They are very dull in their brain because they are always looking for other people's property, other people's wealth to enrich themselves. Now, when all these artifacts and others was taken, they were taken from the palace of the Oba of Benin. They were not taken from the government houses. And the palace of the Oba of Benin has been fighting even before 1960 that all these artifacts been repatriated back to Benin City, to Benin Empire. And the worst of all these things, if now the government or if all these artifacts are being handed over to the government of Edo State. Obaseki will be leaving the power maybe 2 years' time, and another person will come and he will privatize the Imowa Museum. And once that museum is privatized, though that person who bought that museum now owns all these artifacts. You can see the system that is behind. Even during this time of Obaseki may just come back and say, this Imowa Museum is not yielding anything. Let's just sell it. They will sell everything. Those people who now bought all these artifacts will now belong to them. But if we have these artifacts in the possession of our Oba of Benin, our great Oba of Benin, such a thing will not happen. And we can assure you that it cannot happen, because we know the value. We know the value of all these artifacts. Anybody who wants to study those artifacts can swear to it in the possession of the Oba of Benin or in the Benin Royal Museum. We doesn't need Imowa to be in the possession of our artifacts. So it's very, very important for us, with the Benis, with the Edos, the Esan, the Urobos, Ika, all Benis who has the ancestral from the Benin, ancestral road from the Benin Empire, to stand with the Omonoba of Benin, because it is our property. This is our property that people are using system or systematically taking them away from us. I believe we should, most of these people really doesn't understand the implication of all these things that is going on. If you as a citizen or as the owner of a house, somebody came to your father's house and loot the property of your father, maybe after 100 years, 200 years, you come across all these properties and you know this is the property of your father, you will like to have it back home. And if those people willingly give you back this property, you will like to keep it in your home. But if somebody else is trying to overpower you because he has power, he wants to take those property away from you, I think none of us will be very, very happy with those decisions. The Benin people, the Edo people, they should stand up against Imowa in any form, against legacy fund. Because these people, it's like they are using 419 for us, bringing in big names for us to know, this is a big name, maybe something's behind. These are fraud. This is fraud. Imowa is fraud. In colliding with the British Museum or with the British government who stole our property, now want to resell it to us again. After we have paid for it, they will now retake it again and go and be selling it out to other people. This is what is going on. And we shouldn't allow that to happen to us. So that is all I have to say about that, because we are going to be stepping up our efforts against Imowa in every form. if the government didn't retreat from Imua, we are going to be demonstrating, we are going to be telling him whom we are. So let me come back again to the other topic about unity of the Benin Empire. In the social media nowadays, all we see is all these useless talks here and there. Edo person said this, Esan person said this. We are not the only tribe that is existing in social media, or we are not the only tribe that is existing within the Benin Empire. There are all other tribes are existing. We have Ika, we have the Anioma, we have the Kwale, we have the Robos, we have the Shekiris, we have the Isoko, and so many, so many. We have about 52 that is recognized, and there are still more than dozens that are not recognized now. So I think it's time we should avoid all this nuisance in the social media, because this is not how the world got developed, by destroying each other in the social media. If you want to earn money in social media, there are so many ways you can earn money in social media without even disgracing yourself or disgracing another person. If you want directions, we can give you directions how you can earn money from social media. We have what we call influencer. You can influence other people in a good manner, that you will have more follower than as you are doing, insulting yourself and other people, disgracing yourself in the social media. If you are doing a podcast in a good manner, in a professional way, people will like you. People will follow you. But all this disgracing yourself, insulting other people, insulting our Monomba, another our chiefs, our Ohen, Inoges, and others, it doesn't really help you, because you are only doing this to yourself. The money you will earn from it will not even buy you anything. And my thanks go to all the Beninese who know how to respect themselves in social media, who know what it means to respect themselves, not those who are disgracing themselves as if they are from the sky. One day you will fall down to the ground, because insulting people in the social media is a very big mistake many people have been making, and it will lead to their downfall, especially those people who are using this as a cover up for themselves. We know you people. If the mistake we are making, our people here in Europe, they have datas. Let me put it that way. Because in most of these cases, the Wi-Fi in Europe is free in so many of the public areas, where you can be using freely even without consuming so many data. But most of our people, as I don't want to use that word, are so in that corner, viewing these people, sending them message. By doing that, you are also promoting this hatred. You are part and parcel of that problem we're having. If these people doesn't have any view or doesn't have viewers, they will not be doing what they are doing. It's just because they have people watching them doing this and that. And most of them are failing now. They are failing and they'll be failing. And they are going to be failing. Sooner or later, most of them now are even turning back because they know there's no gain again, this and that. And most of these people, before we are against IPOB, this and that, they are almost doing exactly the same thing IPOB was doing, the way they were talking, and all this sort of nonsense they were broadcasting in the social media. So my advice for you people is just retreat from all those areas because they are not going to benefit you. Because I know in this country where I am, I know there are so many influencers, people who influence people to become somebody, to become something. But if you are a hatred influencer, people will just block you out. Yeah. So that is just all for now. I hope we'll be able to come back on Saturday, not me alone, maybe with other people. We'll talk about this issue. Why our people are so crazy, doing all what they are doing in social media, insulting themselves, disgracing themselves. Because they thought they are disgracing other people, but they are disgracing themselves. So thank you and have a blessed evening. And wish you good health. I hope I meet you all in good health before the weekend or in the weekend. So thank you very much. And God bless.
Ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edogbeesan